everybody? This your boy Sean, aka Puff Comics 83, and we are back this week. We're gonna be talking the cyberpunk post-apocalyptic film Cyborg from 1989, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme, and I am joined by my co-host Varangian Vigilante. How are you doing, sir?
Doing well. It's, as you can see, I already have the ventilator running. It's hot here. It's like summer arrived early, and finally we can get it over with talking Cyborg.
Yes, because like I said, this is a movie that I used to watch on TV when I was younger, and of course, Van Damme mania was going wild in America because everybody was watching Van Damme films. Kickboxer, Bloodsport, Lionheart, and all the films that he did in the 90s. Like Van Damme was all over the place. But Cyborg was one of those films that didn't really get as much attention as a lot of his other more known films.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy that it actually made a lot of money.
Yeah, I was like, man, this made a lot of money, and it didn't even have a big budget. And of course, it's done by Canon Studios, so of course they don't rely on big budgets.
And they basically cannibalized everything that was left from the Masters of the Universe sequel and the planned Spider-Man movie that never happened from Canon.
Yeah, so like.
However, we got the Albert Pune Captain America movie.
Yes, that movie. Before people even talk about Chris Evans, they gotta talk about the Albert Pune movie.
With Salinger.
And of course, you can't forget about Red Brown with the big helmet that he used to wear in the early 80s.
I mean, Red Brown is
a legend.
He's a legend.
He's a legend. Those are the Captain Americas I grew up watching.
Yeah, it's the first time I watched Cyborg. It's just such an... It's like I'm not a big fan of Albert Pune movies. The Sword and the Sorcerer is a decent movie, but it's still one of the weakest Sword and Sorcery movies. The Captain America movie, it's okay, for what it is. I mean, his modern movies were all horrible. The thing is, what I actually noticed with his movies is that when you look at the stills and when you look just at one single moment, it actually looks really good. Like, he had a wonderful eyes for scenery. But as soon as the camera rolled, he could not he could not translate it into something dynamic. It's basically like a lot of things are happening, nothing of it is interesting. But when you pause something like the crucifixion scene, the fight scenes, everything is from a great winkle, it's very well lit. So he knew how to create like a scenery that is still, but he had no direction. So
I will say the perfect use of scenery stills was when after they beat up Gibson's cat.
Mm-hmm.
The part where it's looking at him and then the camera pans up and you see the derelict ship with the cross and then you see Fender walking towards it. That was a nice, very great shot.
So basically, when you take screenshots from these movies and put them like on the backside of a VHS, etc., you can sell this shit because it looks fantastic.
Especially the scene where he did the split on top of the beams and took out Ralph Miller. That was probably the most memorable scene of the entire film for me.
Yeah, Ralph still went out too early and still, who the fuck gave him that wig?
Hey, they say, hey, we're gonna kill you off, and then your wig is gonna float in the water.
Yeah, it's Ralph Möller was very much underutilized in the whole movie.
And that's why I said last week I felt like he should have been the main villain. Like he should have been the main, because Ralph Miller has a bit more character. He has more charisma.
He absolutely does. And,
what's up, Roscoe?
Hey, Roscoe.
Like he was awesome in Best of the Best too, as the main baddie. And anything that he played, he always had some
And like I told you, when I met Cosmo, it's like you look.
Say that again. He was breaking up.
Remember when I told you when I met Ralph Möller, and I look like him, and he looked like he's like a different species. He's so fucking tall. Like I look like a hobbit next to him. Hey Dan, and I'm like medium sized.
Yeah. So here's the thing. I love the look and the griminess feel of the film. It really felt like post-apocalyptic hell.
It does, and it makes you really wonder, like how would Masters of the Universe 2 have looked like? Because I think they also wanted to go for the post-apocalyptic in that one.
I'm gonna say the Roscoe, and I haven't said this on YouTube, that Heroes Con was supposed to be a go, but unfortunately a lot of guys that we was traveling up with pulled out, and my brother, he's not interested in going anymore now that and everybody else pulled out, and I just got word from Steve early in the week that he's not gonna go, so most likely we're not gonna be there, sadly.
And I'm in Europe, so.
But yeah, like the look of the film, the feel, it really felt like post-apocalyptic world. And I love the opening monologue by Fender. You something about when if things got worse, we got the plague.
That's actually,
and it's like the plague of death, and that really set the tone of what the world is. Like that little short exposition of what he said. The civilization collapsed, then the plague came in and just ruined even more. It's like, man, it's like this is how post-apocalyptic should look like.
Yeah, I'm actually what I love most about this film is like the post-apocalyptic scenery and the reasoning of the villains, because like I say, I like this one. There is like a cure, and they want to bring the cure like from New York to Atlanta, where like all the scientists are, so they can save the world. But the villain is like a group that is like, hey, we actually enjoy this world, so we don't want it to get better. No, I want to have that cure, so like I can be in power and just give it to those who I want to give it to, which I think it's genius, because it's so relatable, because as we know from this world with pandemics, like there are people like this.
Yeah, and they've gotten so used to this brutal world that how are they going to rebuild civilization just based off of the plague?
Exactly,
for the plague.
The
government's collapsed. Civilization is completely in ruins. The economy is no longer existent. Like, you think the plague is? The cure to the plague is going to save things? No.
And what has society done for us lately?
Yeah, that's right. I did see that there was a comic book to this movie.
There's a comic book, this movie. And there's even, I think, like 2 or 3 sequels to this film.
Yes, I think I've seen the second one with Angela Jolie.
I have seen none of them. At least I think I have seen, or may have seen like one late night TV or something, but
yeah.
This movie was not on TV back in the day, because this movie was on the Index in Germany, so they would have not put it on German TV.
Like I said, this movie, even the first Cyborg doesn't get played as much compared to Van Damme's other films. So the fact that there was 2 sequels, and I saw the second one, people forget that was Angela Jolie's early films.
Yeah. I think the first time I remember her is from Hackers.
Yeah. But going back to this film, like the setting, the tone, and like you said, with the villain's explanation of he liked this world and that he wants to cure so he can control things, it fits in the post-apocalyptic time period, because
absolutely
everybody is out for themselves. It is nothing. And I like the scenery right from the beginning, where you see the bodies.
Yeah,
You know,
that's a good one.
you see the dead bodies on the sticks and all that stuff. You're like, yo, this world ain't holding back. It is complete savage. You can't even trust the humans that's in it.
Yeah, the only thing is, like, you really wanted to have like a better storyteller doing the film in there. I have not seen the director cut from Albert Pune that came up.
Yeah, and I wouldn't want to see it either if they dubbed over Van Damme's voice.
And especially like if it's like over 2 hours long, it's like nah.
Yeah, I felt like at least as much as some parts of the film drag, at least it was only an hour and a half.
Yeah, because Van Damme and Leddig were able to save a lot of movies on the cutting board, especially like Bloodsport, which they actually made it into a classic. Here, it really feels like that they struggled to make like a coherent film out of the material.
And it's like they give you little flashbacks of Gibson's past, with the girl that he was with her 2 kids, and how he developed a bond with them, and how Fender came in and just wrecked all that. So they gave him a pass where, like, he has history with Fender. We can build this up to the finale. But there's a lot of it, the flashbacks, and it kind of like takes away from the movie going forward, because it's like you want to see more of what's going on in the present, and then they go back to a flashback. And while I like the flashbacks, I felt like them keep cutting in multiple parts of the movie just kind of takes away from it.
It reminded me of like some of these video games where you're like in a story and suddenly you have to play a flashback of a different character, and then it's like, but I don't want to. I want to play the main story.
Yeah, like flashbacks can be utilized well, but yeah, Frank Dux is in it. But flashbacks can be utilized well, but sometimes people or directors tend to overuse them.
Yeah,
and I felt like the last flashback where we finally get to see what happened to the family was probably the best one out of all of them. But again, I don't really like give it a massive negative, but it did disrupt the flow of the film, and that was one of the reasons why. Growing up, I always caught this film in the middle, like right for the part where they was at the little abandoned warehouse. I always caught it at that part, but I never really watched it from the beginning. And I was like, when I finally watched it from the beginning, I was like, man, there's a lot more flashbacks than what I remember.
Actually, like with the abandoned warehouses are the best scenes.
Yeah, to me that was like the highlight: the abandoned warehouse, and then going into the sewer to see Ralph Miller's death. Yeah. Like, and then the whole crucifixion. That was like one of the high points of the film because the way they shot it.
Absolutely, and it's a movie that is 90 minutes long should not have so much filler material.
And then it'd be like you want to progress the story, but there's a lot of nothing happening within the movie. Like, you would have one action scene and then you get a dry spell.
Exactly, and it's sad because the world is interesting, the soundtrack is good, even like the effects, for a low budget movie, the effects actually look quite decent, and then you also have also really good cast. It's just like. It's Albert Pune. He's always, when you look at a lot of his movies, you can always see he has like these grand visions, which he neither has the talent to adapt, nor he ever had like the budget to do it. And he's also not one of these directors, that can do magic with a little budget. And he wanted to make this epic science fiction, like rock opera, because one of his favorite movies is actually one of my favorite movies, which we also talked about, Streets of Fire.
Yeah.
And even later, he directed like a fan sequel to Streets of Fire, which is horrible.
None could top Streets of Fire.
Yeah, and he also directed the worst sword and sorcery movie in history. That is even worse than the Barbarians. It's like Tales of an Ancient Empire, which is like the sequel to the Sword and the Sorcerer. And that film, you know, when you look at it, it has a fantastic cast. You know, Kevin Sorbo, and I think also Ralph Möller is also part in it. But it's like, it's basically, it's not even shot before a green screen. I think it's shot before an LED screen. It's unwatchable. I tried to watch it twice. I just can't.
Man, you had me when you said it's worse than the Barbarians. I thought that was one of the worst for you.
Yeah, but at least the Barbarians is a movie done by a talented director. Hey, well, hope you're well.
Man, look, when it comes to this film, and we've said this in the past, like, Matty paintings needs to come back.
Yes. The beginning of the map paintings are really enjoyed that.
And then the part when they were on the road to Atlanta.
Yes, I also like that.
Like, you could tell it's a Matty painting, but yet it still looks so gorgeous.
Exactly, you know, because in the best versions you can't even tell it's a matte painting, and even if you can tell it's a matte painting, you can really still appreciate it. I don't know how old I was when I actually found out that a lot of the Death Star scenes in the Empire, like in the Return of the Jedi, was like done with matte paintings. As a kid, I always thought, oh, it's so cool, so many stormtroopers. Like,
I remember when we talked Enemy Mine, and that last scene in the movie was a whole matte painting. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, that movie was so fucking good.
But man, like I said, this movie is well done. The story is simple. I will say the story is simple.
It lacks you know, this, like I was saying, this is like some meat on the bone. Like the fundament is there, the bone is there, but it just like it's not really rewarding.
And you know, the story is, with the plague going on, the scientist that has a cure, but they need to transport it from New York to Atlanta. And you know, them being sorry as hell, they don't want to do it themselves because they know they're gonna get wrecked. So they send a cyborg, a female cyborg, and they implanted the information into her brain chip and say, you're gonna go with somebody to transfer this information to Atlanta. Now, me personally, I'll be like, yo, get the T-1000, let them do it, because nobody messing with the T-1000.
You know, that's another thing. You know what I always question is, if you wanna bring something from point A to B and you really don't want to get into trouble, why do you create a beautiful cyborg that just screams rape me, like in a post-apocalyptic world? Why don't you just make like a little small ugly male cyborg that can just walk from A to B, because nobody would bother like dealing with that person?
I'm saying that, like, you've got the tools to create a cyborg, but yet the cyborg is weak. I'm like, the cyborg's supposed to be powerful.
Yeah, it's almost like I don't know, like it almost really looks like somebody just reprogrammed the sex bot that was already there.
And the more you really look, that's why I said when I first watched this movie, I thought Fender was the cyborg, because he had more cybernetic, like in terms of no emotion, the eyes. Like he looked like a cyborg.
Yeah, he has the vibes. He totally has the vibes, but it's like,
you know, he looks like he could be a cybernetic Milli Vanilli or shit like that.
Yeah.
But it's like they create the cyborg to go down there to get the information, but she's completely useless. No fucking skills or no battle techniques, you know, like, you're a cyborg. If you're gonna put something in the cyborg, make sure they have some skills of weaponry or something like that.
Exactly.
Like put her arm, she can take it off and it becomes a cannon.
Some could should have pulled a fucking drone.
It just makes no sense for this cyborg to be completely fucking useless.
It really feels like, the scientist is like, oh, finally my sex bot is ready, and it's like, did you do the cyborg for the cure? It's like,
I watched Saber Marionette, the anime. And those female cyborgs are better than this shit.
Yeah, it's that cyborg has basically all the tech but can take 0 damage.
And then when Fender confronts her, and this is, you could tell like 80s special effects. Like, she's talking to Gibson, and then next thing you know, the next shot, the background is changed. I was like, oh shit, a special effect is about to take place. And then she removed her scout to expose the background cybernetics. And like, this is where half the budget went to.
That was a really well done scene. Like, this is like where the whole movies are overachieving at that point.
And this is where Canon Films is like, yep, that's half your budget right there. So you better keep it simple going forward.
It's so crazy this movie cost $500,000 and it made over $10 million.
Yeah, it made a lot of money, and it's like, you wouldn't even think that the way this movie was presented afterwards in the 90s, you would have thought this was like a box office failure because it never got played on TV a lot.
Exactly. I mean, I do have to say, of course, if you see the movie poster, this is something where I would have, in '89, if I would have been old enough and they would have played here, I would be like, yep, I'm going to see that.
And the movie is very misleading because it's called Cyborg, and it's got Jean-Claude Van Damme on it.
Yeah,
you would think he's the cyborg.
Exactly.
Right? And then if he's not the cyborg, maybe the villain is the cyborg.
Which is like, yeah, exactly, because this is actually the time where you finally think where it would actually be fitting if there would be more than one Jean-Claude Van Damme.
That's like having the Terminator and it's Michael Biehn on the cover.
Yeah.
He's not the Terminator.
Exactly, but yeah, it's like, yeah. And there's so many Van Damme movies where he's playing like 2 parts, and yet in this movie where actually would have been fitting from the title, you have like an army of Van Dammes.
Yeah, so he can do a bunch of splits and roundhouse kicks.
Yeah. I mean, this movie cost him in the long because he had to pay of course, like the damages where he kicked someone blind and one accidentally. I still think it's crazy because shouldn't that be? Isn't there like insurance for such things on movie sets?
Maybe the guy was a lower ranking actor and didn't really have much, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm gonna sue Van Damme because it happened on his watch."
Should have shot it in Italy. Nobody would have sued.
I want to mention Dale Haddon. She played the cyborg Pearl Prophet.
Yeah.
She passed away at the end of last year.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, December of 2024.
Oh, that sucks.
And I thought, for the screen time she had, she was okay. Like, the whole movie revolves around her, but at the same time,
she not really
meaningless.
Yeah, she's like a plot device, this film.
Yeah, that's what she was, a plot device. Like, just to get her from point A to point B. And the only thing is that Fender was able to get her and say, I'm going to take you to Atlanta. I'm going to get the cure. And I'm going to, control the whole world. Because everybody wants this cure. And it makes sense from a villain standpoint. But again, her character was nothing more than a plot device. So there's really no, like you said earlier, no meat on the bones.
Yeah.
Now, the character that I thought was pretty good was Deborah Richter, who played Nada.
Yeah.
And I thought she came onto her own as the movie progressed. Like, she tries to be that sidekick to Gibson. And yeah, at times, like, you should have stayed put. and she even said it herself. But she held her own. That fight she had with the lady, when she cut off her hand, and then the lady still she no-sold it and still took her out, but they both were done.
Yeah,
that was a pretty good sequence.
She was a little bit. I think that she ultimately should probably not have been sacrificed just for a cheap sad scene.
Because they wanted to prop the other girl up, the one that was part of the family that he knew.
And there can only be one girl.
There can only be one girl. But then, here's the thing: Gibson and Nady has this partnership, and she tried to start a relationship with him, but then he was like, no, because first of all, he don't want to get emotionally attached to her, which is smart, because women like to be emotionally attached, and he's like, nah, I'm on a mission, cover up, because we got to go, and he still has the dreams of the previous woman that he was with, with her kids. So now when he runs into the girl that's part of Fender's group, she was a little girl when he was with the lady. Now he's he's calling a whirlwind of emotions.
Well, in Inferno, he bangs both chicks.
But he's calling the whirlwind of emotions because she had that medallion, and he couldn't believe that she was with Fender, but Fender took her. So now he's got to save her and also get the cyborg back, from Fender. So you have some story there, that ties into the past. And I thought the last sequence of the past was pretty good, because forcing her to hold them, because they were Gibson and the woman and the other kid went on the well, and they was held together by barbed wire, and Fender had her be the one to hold the barbed wire.
Maybe GCW should have known how to make barbed wire that holds together from this film.
GCW might take it too far. So, that whole backstory was, like I said, it was good, even though they did too many flashbacks. And some of the flashbacks they repeated twice. The part when he was making love to her, they did it twice.
Exactly.
That was wasted film.
Yeah, a film should not have jumping off points.
Because when I was like, man, why they gotta show the same sequence again?
That makes no sense.
That makes no sense from the standpoint of a filmmaker. You show the same sequence twice. No difference to it.
Probably, because Van Damme edited himself, is I need
to see more of this.
Yeah, it's more my butt. I need more of my butt in this movie. Because this movie lacks my butt.
And, like I said, there's elements I like. I love the look of the film, but I just wish, like you said, if it had a better director and a much stronger tie-in plot, and the cyborg is not just a fucking waste of a character. A movie called Cyborg, and the cyborg doesn't do shit.
Yeah,
it felt like misleading when you look at the posters. It felt like you want to tune in to see a cyborg, and the cyborg is nothing more than a prop.
Exactly, and I really don't want to shit on Albert Pune, because first of all, of course, he passed away, and second of all, everybody that I know that met him said he's like a saint. He was one of the nicest guys. He's not a good director. It's sad.
Sometimes you got to say how it is. What's up, Kenneth?
Yeah,
you gotta say how it is.
Exactly, and it really, actually, what wonders me the most is how he got so many directing jobs.
I mean, cheap companies need them.
Yeah.
As long as you're a director in a small studio or a studio like Canon that's willing to pay cheap, They'll hire you just to direct movies.
It's but yes.
But the fight scenes though, the warehouse scene,
and even the final fight, with Gibson
and
Fender, it was nice. Also, like the meat hook was a classic.
You knew when Fender got stabbed, they kept panning towards his body, and like, oh, he getting back up. And then, again, this feeds back into my youth when I was like, oh, he a cyborg. So the fight scenes were great. It has your typical Van Damme cutscenes where if he throws a roundhouse kick, you're gonna see it 3-4 times within the same shot.
Well, he edited it, so of course, like he was like sure to put in like the classic what he already knows that works, and ultimately, like I say, it's I think Van Damme really helped, not only because of his name naturally, but also because of his editing, that this movie made money. It's for me, it.
No.
I think it's a. I think the movie is very boring, but the movie has its fan base. It made money, and it has redeeming factors. What personally I don't like about it, besides everything that doesn't make it a good movie, what we talked about, is it's too decent to be like a guilty pleasure. Like it suffers a lot from not being bad enough, but also not being good enough.
That's a very good description.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said, I like the movie, but it's not in my top 10 Van Damme films. It will probably it'd be hard to crack top 20.
Yeah, it's probably. Is there any Van Damme film that I don't like as much as this one?
I mean, I like the movie Replicant more. With him and Michael Rooker.
Yeah, I don't think. From what I know from my memory, this might be my least favorite Van Damme movie.
And that's saying something, because even a least favorite Van Damme film, especially from '89, I could still take it over a lot of modern action films.
I think it must be, what is the name? Black Eagle. Is the name Black Eagle of the Van Damme movie? The other one? Yeah, Black Eagle. I think that one is. That one is also not not a page turn.
But like I said, this movie was the prototypical 80s, 90s action film. As average and below average as it is, I can still watch it and get some type of enjoyment out of it, because it does have good action scenes. It does have a great premise. The scenery and the true post-apocalyptic world of just crime, dirty, it really, this movie could really use a better director and a solid story to make it worthwhile. If they remake this film, I will welcome it, as long as it's got the right people involved. Because the story is there.
Yeah. Actually, like you said, this is like one of these movies where it actually would be great to have a remake, because it has like a lot of potential, but it never really tapped into potential. And maybe with Van Damme as producer, this would actually be a very nice remake if somebody ever want to touch it again. But yeah, it's
kind of like how he did the recent kickboxing films.
Yeah, those are excellent. We still gotta talk about those. Also, I think next week we are off because I'm not here. But you know what we should talk another Van Damme film? Actually, my favorite Van Damme movie, which is probably not most people's favorite Van Damme movie, but the Legionnaire, the Legionnaire.
Okay, I every time it was either that or the Quest.
The Quest is also like we can even do those as a double, like 1 week the Legionnaire, the other week the Quest.
So we gonna make this Van Damme one.
Yeah, like June is Van Damme.
June is Van Damme. But yeah, Legionnaire is one of those films that I can watch. The Quest was one that I couldn't get into. So that would definitely be a movie that I would like to rewatch and see if I can like get into that film. Because it was different from his usual type of films.
Yeah, because he wanted to combine like the martial arts tournament movie with he always wanted to do like this big adventure movie. And I think he totally nailed it. I really enjoyed that film. And the great thing about the Legionnaire is it's a fantastic movie, but it's actually based on a movie that is even better. Like Marschier oder stirb, March or Die, with Gene Hackman and with Terence Hill.
And it's got what's the name in it, man? Atherwell. That's right. He was. I remember when I saw him in a clip in this film. So yeah, that's right. So yeah, I'm down for talking that film.
Nice. So like I said, next week we're off, and then we like have another Van Damme double. Yeah, Cyborg. It's a movie.
Like I said, I'm not gonna completely shit on it because there are things I like about the film, you know. And it's a nostalgic film for me because I watched it on TV so much as a kid, you know. So it does like hit that nostalgia factor.
Yeah, I probably watched it too late because it was not really available here, as in Germany it was like on the index, so there was not really a way to really get like it if you don't import it, and especially back in the day, like of course Austria was very much reliant on what like Germany put out, so it was actually I have not seen this until like the late 2000s. So for me the nostalgic experience is missing in this case.
Yeah, because when it was on, I just wanted to watch Van Damme. And anything Van Damme, I wanted to watch.
It's still back from the TV days. It's impossible to turn on the TV to zap, and then it's like a movie with Van Damme. It's impossible to not watch it.
You look at the TV guide back when we used to look at the TV guide in the newspapers, and you see Cyborg, Jean-Claude Van Damme. Oh, I'm watching.
Yeah, I just remember one of these like also like days where this was. What was this movie again? Where he was banished to this island, where basically everybody that had like a secret that is too dangerous for the world had to like be exiled to this island, and forgot the name of it, but it was a really cool one. I think I should even have it here, but I forgot the name of the film.
Yeah, like I said, it's middle of the road for me. Like it's not great, but I don't hate the film. Like the things I really like about the film.
Yeah, I also don't hate it.
Yeah, it's hard to really hate Van Damme.
Yeah,
and again, he's part of that 80s, 90s action era that we'll probably never see again because the tears of action stars that we had was second to none.
Yeah, and also it's gonna be very tough for us to make it to the next 80s.
I mean, there's not even a henchman like Al Leon that's in modern times. Like we see him in these films. Like, oh, I know him from all these other films.
Yeah, it has the Ralph Möller moment.
Yep.
But Ralph Möller very much underutilized. So also like, do you also have a big wrestling weekend ahead of you?
Yes. As much as I don't like having to go on a Sunday because I work Sunday nights, I will not pass up the chance to finally meet Bret the Hitman Hart. I have to make this because we don't know how much time when anybody could go, and Bret Hart is like one of my childhood heroes. When the man told America to kiss his ass, I refused to turn on him. I was like, I still support you, Bret. So I'm looking forward to meeting Bret Hart.
And it's Bret Hart is still the most known Canadian, like in the German part of Europe. Also on the weekend I spoke with a Canadian, and he's like, like, what do you know about Canada and Austria? Like, Bret the Hitman Hart, naturally.
He's Canada's son. The most known name in Canada, Bret the Hitman Hart.
Exactly.
And also, you had an amazing weekend last.
Yeah. When it was like Arnold had his pump club in like his app, so they have like this worldwide meeting for the first time like in Europe, and it was at Arnold's birth house. So I helped a little bit there, of course, because I was working in the museum in the past, like, and also I'm the local liaison for the official fan club. So I helped a little bit with the registration and with the build-up, etc. And yeah, it shook Arnold's hand, which was quite interesting. So it really felt, it felt a little bit unreal, when Arnold introduces himself and introduces like his girlfriend, and he's just like, I'm just a regular dude there. It's like, hello, I'm Thorsten, like friend of Peter. So
awesome,
so it was, he's 77 years old. Next month gonna be 78, I think, and he still carries a fucking aura.
He's Arnold, man.
And
he's the Terminator.
And I also have to say, to like basically to be around him like for 2 days, there's a lot of things that I don't envy. The moment he gets out of a room, the moment he gets in public, immediately, people around him, he walks, people follow him like a red tail. That must be so fucking annoying. Like I personally, I would not know how I could like keep my cool as much as he does, because he doesn't really have like a private life. The fun thing, actually, I think from citizens, I think that the Hof is bigger. Arnold, actually, I think for most citizens, is actually very niche. And I think a little bit more, especially since his environmental, since he also like does like the climate summit every year in Austria, which also was this week. That I think he's getting now a little bit more into the public consciousness, but more from a politic side. But what I remember from when I was a kid, everybody, of course, was like, Arnold, cool, they had songs about him, etc. But Hasselhoff was so omnipresent. Like, it's the thing, you could not turn on the TV for 2 hours and there was like not a rerun of Baywatch, of Knight Rider. It's just like Hasselhoff was like there. And then of course all the music video they played like every day on TV.
Y'all got indoctrinated by the Hof.
Yeah, it's the Hof is just it's like Hasselhoff still has concerts here and they're still getting sold out.
Unbelievable.
It's just the Hof. It's like if Arnold would decide to run for president, I don't know if he gets voted in. If Hasselhoff would decide to run for president, it would be a landslide.
Oh my God! An American like David Hasselhoff get voted in for German president. Unbelievable.
I mean, the sad thing is, like, compared to the politicians we have, he would be even probably the most sober one, which says a lot.
Oh man. But there you go. The Hoff. The Hoff is truly powerful.
Don't hassle the Hoff.
That's it. But yeah, we'll be off next week, and we'll be back.
Are you gonna watch Money in the Bank?
No.
I'm gonna watch it. I'm very excited for the women Money in the Bank.
People are saying if Stephanie Vaquer don't win, they riding.
I mean, it's like since Stephanie left NXT, I think Booker is like is going through a breakup trauma.
Hey, what do you think of the recent release of R-Truth?
It's so fucking stupid. Like, you don't release R-Truth. Like, especially like right after like he was basically in a main event feud at it's not main event. It's just
crazy.
It's crazy. It's I mean the thing is, like, they did nothing with Carlito except for him being there and being just Carlito, which means it's awesome.
Getting speared out of his
kill by Braun Breaker, but still, like, these are so unnecessary, because I would totally get it if the business would be down. But when they basically every week, the highest scale, we make so much money, and then they started releasing people that basically still have like stories to tell, or like R-Truth, who basically is sort of like the soul of the company, like the heart and soul, where with R-Truth, the wonderful thing is, if you don't have like any idea, for example, how to fill a 3-hour SmackDown episode, just send R-Truth out for 20 minutes, and he will cook something up. What's
up, Donnie?
Hey, Donnie. And the other thing is, of course, naturally there is like a hire and fire policy with WWE. WWF always has been, but you don't want to get rid of like the tissue that holds like the locker room together. Like, you need to have like a constant, like in the past, of course, like also with the Undertaker, when you have like wrestlers squad, you really want to have like, your lifers, your like unfireables in there. And R-Truth should be one of those.
The fact that he's been there 17 years, and that's not even counting his first earlier years when he was K-Quick.
Yeah.
So that's damn near 20 years.
And probably R-Truth could even do a better job, like making wrestlers themes.
Oh man, I hate the music in today's wrestling.
Yeah, it's horrible.
And you know what's sad? I didn't mention it last week. My fucking New York Knicks.
Fucking Pacers! It's not even Reggie Miller, it's the fucking Pacers again. Fuck the Pacers. The Pacers.
And Holly Burton is fucking owning up that shit. They won last night, game 1 of the NBA Finals. I'm like, fuck this goddamn team, man.
It's I haven't watched basketball in a long time, and it's like, the Knicks are doing well. I was like,
hey, Dan, I didn't like Cat to begin with. I knew when we made that trade, I was like, this ain't gonna work, because the man don't play defense, and he plays like every other big man today, wanting to shoot threes. That shit irritates me when I see big men play like that. And the thing with Reggie Miller, this man is commentating the whole damn finals between the Pacers and the Knicks, the conference finals.
It's fuck Reggie Miller. Like, really, fuck.
And how he's doing shooting time?
Like, Reggie Miller doing fucking threes from the commentary out. This is cursed. Like, the moment Reggie Miller is somewhere, the Knicks can't win. Since like 30 fucking years.
25 years since we last been in the conference finals. We lost to the Pacers the last time, and we lose to them 25 years later. It's crazy. It's hard being the Knicks fan.
Ban Reggie Miller. That guy gave me nightmares when I was a teenager. Still giving me fucking nightmares. Even when I played fucking NBA on the PC back in the day. Fucking 16-bit. It's like every time he shot like a fucking free, it's like can't defend this bastard. He ain't even playing right now on the commentary still. Fuck that.
I love when I bring up the Knicks and the Pacers, man. You get just as heated as I would.
It's
a Knicks. Hey, we got BV, a Knicks fan from across the pond.
When you look at pictures for me when I was 14, with a way too big Knicks-like jersey. I gotta look at the old photo album of my parents if I can find one. But back in the day, it was Patrick Ewing was my guy. Of course, I had the 33 also on the jersey.
If it wasn't Jordan, it was damn Pacers.
Yeah, it was at least with Jordan you get it. The Bulls were invincible.
And the funny thing about us losing this series that we couldn't even blame Spike Lee for the loss after what he did in the 90s. No, man. No. We still blaming Reggie. Because Halliburton doing the choke sign as a tribute to Reggie.
And Tracy Morgan doesn't bring any luck as a fan.
So that's our rant on the Knicks losing to the Pacers. I didn't want to bring it up last week because I was already losing those first two games was disgusting. But
and I can't even watch fucking wrestling without people bringing it up.
Oh my god! I hope Triple H was at the Pacers games. I hope he don't try and bring in Halliburton if they win the championship. I hope that. But he's gonna.
Yeah, fuck the Pacers. Fuck. And fuck Reggie Miller.
And we're gonna end it off with that. We will see you guys in 2 weeks. And the Comic Call crew is back. I saw that they're gonna talk favorite video game soundtracks. I might have Jamel be on that show because I'm not gonna be on there. But yeah, we're talking video game soundtracks. I will say though, Streets of Rage, man. I keep going back to Streets of Rage. The classic soundtracks.
Golden Axe.
Yes, Golden Axe.
I even got the Golden Axe one on vinyl because it's awesome.
Yes. So, like I said, I'll see how I feel, but video game soundtracks on the Common Call crew tomorrow. But until then, we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Later. Have a great weekend.
Fuck